Hey guys, it's John from Album Review TV. Time for a review of the new The Naked and Famous record titled In Rolling Waves, due out September 17th. If you guys have watched my reviews for a while, you know that I was a huge fan of their debut record titled Passive Me, Aggressive You. And that was something that drew me in upon first listen. There was just so many elements about that album that worked. Here on In Rolling Waves, there are a lot of great moments on this record and many great songs. I shouldn't say many. There's many that I enjoyed, but not as a whole. This whole record feels incomplete, if you will, and just feels like it's lacking direction in several different parts. Particularly the middle of the album truly drags its feet, in my opinion. The middle of this record truly just suffers from a lack of just enthralling and entertaining listens, at least in the first half of some of these songs. A lot of them rely on big builds, but start off so minimalistic and just kind of dull and unentertaining to me, and just not special compared to what I know this band is capable of. But, you know, that being said, there still are a lot of really good songs and really entertaining ones, so let's go ahead and get into this. The New Zealand alternative group decided to put out Hearts Like Ours as the first single off of this record, and that definitely makes sense to me. And the album opens up with a track I really love called A Stillness. A Stillness opens up the album with some very melodic and beautifully strummed acoustic guitars that I immediately just started tapping my foot, kind of getting those good vibes from that song, and the song quickly got me into the record. Sonically, sounds like a natural progression for the Naked and Famous. That's what I'm thinking when first listening to this song. Frontwoman Alyssa's vocals sound graceful, bolder than ever here on this track as she sings "Still, Still, Be Still." The song has an enormous build to it, one that actually works here on this track. If you've got something interesting going on musically, it's okay to have these, like, you know, a little bit longer times to actually build into the track and crash into something more. It really works here on A Stillness. It really hits its monster peak just after the 4-minute mark on the song. The synthesizers roll in, start to layer on top of the choppy guitar riffs and pounding drums, slowly carrying the listener into a sea of pure musical ecstasy. The noises grow louder and louder until a crackling fade out leads into Hearts Like Ours. Like I said, first single off of the record, and the only song that really screams single on the album to me, other than possibly Rolling Waves, which is title track from the record. Hearts Like Ours, totally understandable that it's the first single. Definitely feels like a continuation of the band's sound from their last record to me. Bright, energetic vocals here on this track. Guitar riffs that are really supercharged and carry the song along. Lyrically, very well done, which is business as usual, so I thought, for the band. Some of the songs struggle, but this is not one of those. Hearts Like Ours. The vocal harmonies, backing vocals are on point as well. Something the band really needs to pride themselves on, and I think take advantage of more. I think it's better when the vocals are more upbeat and really driving, instead of on many of these songs that I'm going to get to on the record that are just kind of, you know, they're kind of light, airy, and just not really entertaining the listener. Waltz reminds me a little bit of the track The Sun from their last record. Easily one of my favorites from Passive Me, Aggressive You. Both songs have very dark tones to them, and on Waltz we get to see the first use of rotated male and female vocals between Alyssa and Tom. And the programmed drums sound a little bit cheesy to me on this track, and this is where I kind of start to have my doubts about some parts of the record. And the song really has a hard time finding its feet, honestly, and finding its way along throughout its run. Overall, I think it's lacking. There were definitely some good ideas, but they just didn't feel like they were completed. Rolling Waves immediately caught my ear with its consistent and driving synth line that repeats that one note steadily and builds on top of it. The rest of the instruments kind of fill in around that note. The chorus is big, but repetitive and somewhat uninteresting to me, which is very disappointing because, you know, I know what these guys are capable of in terms of writing choruses. I mean, if you've heard Youngblood, Punching in a Dream, and even Hearts Like Ours, you know what they can do. And this song right here is definitely on the poppier side of things, so I figured that this was going to be, alright, this is going to be one with a very solid chorus, but overall it feels like they didn't really come through with that good of a chorus lyrically. The keys on the track really do sound beautiful though, and I have to say that I enjoyed the latter half of the song the most. The drums fill out, the vocals progress, and the song moves quickly in the right direction and finishes very strong. The mess really starts to highlight the problem that I have with a lot of this record, something I had mentioned before. Uninteresting first halves and amazing closings to songs. It just kind of irks me because, you know, I can't get into the first half of the song and then, it really starts crashing in and all the guitar fills and the synthesizers mix in and everything really starts going. You know, why use 2 minutes of the song building up to that every single time for like 5 or 6 songs on the record? It just does not make sense to me. The mess really does start to get entertaining, you know, whenever the synths mix in with those guitars. We get this massive and beautiful winning combination. The vocals improve so much and sound so much better whenever they're thrown in the mix with the guitar and the synths and the drums, all the powering instruments. Grow Old is the next song on the record, and it's the longest on the album actually, and yet again another slow building song with some vocoder vocals, some gloomy feels, overall minimalistic production here on the beginning of the track within the first 3 minutes, and then boom, here we go again. The rest of the band really starts to kick in with these guitars and the drumming and everything. It starts to gain my attention. I'm paying attention to the track now. I know I keep mentioning it, but it's really frustrating to just be sitting there for the first 3 minutes unentertained, and then the song really starts to get to me. I mean, you've made your bed, now sleep in it. One final thing about this track, I really do like the outro. Quiet, minimal, and a good way to end things. You know, that might not be the best way to start the first 3 minutes of the song, but it is a nice way to, you know, kind of close things out. We get that 2 minute shorter song, Golden Girl, that really just doesn't move anywhere, in my opinion, and doesn't really do much. What we want to move with purpose, We Are Leaving. 4 tracks right there that I could just, you know, give or take, honestly. It's not really doing much of anything for me. There's a lot of male and female rotated vocals, a lot of softness to them, and there's some moments here and there, like We Are Leaving. It's more interesting at some parts than some of its nearby peers, but honestly it feels like more of the same to me. Sadly, very unentertaining, slow moving, and dull and uninventive. I'm referring to these 4 tracks that I just mentioned as a whole. They're very uninventive compared to their past work. Now there is one highlight thrown in there in between all these tracks, and that one's called I Killed Giants. Finally breaks the trend and starts in as an enthralling listen from the start. From the you over the synth notes that lead to a fun, memorable chorus. The track definitely sets itself apart as one of the better tracks on this record. Now, you're probably thinking, like, he just hates the slow songs. He just doesn't like anything slow. No, that's not true at all. I mean, like, I loved The Sun because of the way it was done. It was a very slow track. It's not like these energetic, upbeat vocals. That's not what I'm looking for from the band. I'm looking for creativeness, something I know they have. Jilted Lovers, Wolf in Geek's Clothing, so many creative things about their last record that are lacking here. Now we get to the end of the record and we get to one of the true highlights of the record, a small reunion. Closing and ending the album in similar fashion, we start off once again with that acoustic guitar. The song succeeds in entertaining throughout its almost 6-minute run. A string section in a Naked and Famous song definitely makes sense to me. It's something I really was hoping to see, and we actually got it here on this final track on the record. The song encompasses what the band is really all about and what it does best. Guitars, synths, strings, something new, and pounding drum beats really just drive this song home. What more could you ask for? This song is a perfect example of where having a big build doesn't mean you have to have a directionless first half and intro. The strings get progressively louder and stronger over time. The vocal harmonies blend Tom and Alyssa's voices so nicely together. It's truly a beautiful moment when the guitars and the huge symphonic elements finally mesh together and create one of the best moments on the entire album, backed by intense drumming and several layers of well thought out instrumentation. Overall, yes, I have to admit that I'm disappointed with this record. I was at a 5 out of 5 on their last record, but here on this one, I'm feeling a 3 out of 5. That's all I can award to this album. There's many great moments, a small reunion, of course a Stillness, Hearts Like Ours, The Mess, Rolling Waves being my favorites here on this album. Let me know what you thought about the record in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching Album Review TV, your home for music news and reviews. And of course, this is just my opinion, so please share yours freely and, nicely and calmly down in the comments. Intense drumming and several layers of well thought out. Oh, voice crack. What is this, puberty?